Welcome to Run Mode, an industrial automation podcast by Powermation. I'm your host, Terry Bush. Today we're talking with Jeff Johnson, our Business Development Manager for Machine Functional Safety. He'll cover the importance of integrating machine safety into manufacturing processes, the differences between OSHA and ANSI, and emerging safety technologies and more. But first, let's do the news. Powermation is a proud sponsor of our first robotics competitions. This year we sponsored several upper Midwest teams, both financially and through volunteers. First Robotics is a STEM program, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. It's oriented for students between first grade and high school. Its goal is to inspire these students to be more involved in science and technology, robot building, competitions, and working together as a team. Every season, teams at 4 different levels are given a set of tasks to complete for their robot. They must design, build a new robot each season, and at the end of the competition, they're awarded for designs, creativity, and various accomplishments. Also, have you heard of 62443? Today we were talking about machine functional safety. Many years ago, workplace safety became an important topic, and standards were written around the intent of giving guidance and mandating safer workplaces. The same is now happening for cybersecurity. ISA 62443 is one of those standards. Manufacturers of cyber equipment, which is anything with an Ethernet port, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth, will now be required to build these devices cybersecure first and functional second. For example, no default protocols being turned on, no default passwords, no default certificates. There are also standards for the implementation or simple system integrators. One example might be they could configure the cyber-safe device to be insecure for easy access, and that's not allowed. End users will need to follow the rules as they could bypass the safety security features as well. The goal is to make sure everyone takes responsibility for cyber safety. The days of saying cyber safety is the IT guy's job is a yesterday's thought. Protecting workers from the effects of heat. I went out and visited a customer many years ago, and I was intrigued by the fact that they had an environment that was very warm. It was a foundry, and they had systems in place that would change when people would take breaks and how frequent the breaks are that they are allowed to take. Another aspect of personal safety is recognizing and responding to the heat illness. Every year, thousands of workers become ill due to heat exposure in the workplace, and some of them even die. It's essential to recognize and respond to that heat illness. It's also important to monitor the work environment for heat and humidity changes. OSHA recommends having a heat plan and providing training on heat illness. They also recommend planning the work schedules through acclimatizing workers gradually by increasing workload and heat exposure. Modifying work schedules, reducing heat exposure, and allowing frequent rest breaks are also recommended. You'll find this link to this document in the show notes. I'm sitting here with Jeff Johnson, a member of the business development team at Powermation, and you've been in charge of or working with the safety product for many years. Why don't you talk a little bit about your history, where you came from, and a little bit about where you've been at Powermation?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So spent 30 years in industry, designing, developing, and implementing various different types of control systems for various different manufacturing processes. Been blessed to have opportunities to work for some awesome companies throughout my career. Spent 20 years in the automotive industry, 5 years in the motorcycle industry, and another 5 years in the power industry. Came to Powermation 9 years ago now as a business development manager for our safety products. And really the goal was to enhance Powermation's focus on safety products and expand our product portfolio and provide technical guidance to our customers and sales representatives, delivering effective safety solutions for our customers.
So in the safety space, how did you become familiar with those safety standards, and how did that work into the safety products?
So being in industry, designing electrical control systems, you have to know a lot about the standards anyway, so that was part of it. But I recognize that there's a harmony between international-based standards and ANSI-based or US-based standards. So I felt it was important to become familiar with the international standards. So took a course on the Certified Machine Safety Expert, which is primarily focused on international-based ISO standards. and then to get current on ANSI-based or US-based standards, took a course which called the Licensed Machine Safety Specialist, which is focused primarily on US-based standards here.
So why do you think it's important to integrate those machine safety standards into manufacturing systems?
So from a company perspective, it is morally and ethically the absolutely right thing to do, right? Protect our people, protect the employees. We protect the company, it reduces liability and legal costs. It improves employee morale. There's significantly less employee turnover. It improves productivity, so when our people feel safe, there's more likely to be engaged with and productive. It improves quality and also improves company's brand image. So from a legal perspective, it is the law. So OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Organization, created by the U.S. Congress under the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970, was signed into law by President Nixon in 1970. So OSHA's goal was really to ensure that workers have a safe and healthy work environment by enforcing workplace safety regulations and holding employers accountable for providing safe work conditions.
Let's talk a little bit about that. OSHA, are there safety requirements that they cite for employers?
Yeah, there is. So when there really is no specific regulation that applies, they will often use what's called the General Duty Clause. And that's Clause 5 of the OSHA Act of 1970. So it basically states that each employer shall furnish to its employees a place of employment which is free from recognized hazards that are causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm to its employees. So it is every employer's legal responsibility to identify and assess workplace hazards, that they implement appropriate controls to eliminate or reduce those hazards and provide adequate training to the employees.
And that's not just machine safety stuff, it's also just office desk. I mean, it's safety in every aspect of your job,
Yep.
I'm assuming.
Yep, it can absolutely be. But the bottom line is, by prioritizing machine safety, companies protect the workforce, they reduce the costs, they comply with the laws,
Yep.
and enhance their long-term operational success.
And you mentioned OSHA and ANSI. What are the differences between the two, and how could somebody distinguish the differences between them?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because it comes up all the time. So first of all, it's important to understand here in the United States, OSHA is the law. It is the law. ANSI is the American National Standards Institute, which is a private nonprofit organization that oversees the development of voluntary consensus standards. So these standards are developed through a consensus-driven process that involves multiple stakeholders, including industry experts, consumers, as well as manufacturers. So ANSI issues standards that are suggestions, recommendations, and guidelines. But it's important to note that the federal government recognized that it wasn't keeping up with the private sector. And so they introduced what's called the National Technology Transfer and Advancement Act. And what that is, the purpose was to encourage the use of these voluntary consensus standards, aka ANSI, right? And enhance the coordination between federal government and the private sector. So the NTTA was passed to promote innovation, streamline the government process, and foster collaboration between public and private sectors. And all with the aim of advancing U.S. Technical leadership. So What's important to understand here is in Section 12 of the NTTA agreement, all federal agencies and departments shall use technical standards, aka ANSI standards, that are developed or adopted by the voluntary consensus standards. So OSHA now has increasingly referred to ANSI-based standards in citations since the passage of the NTTA agreement.
It's interesting that the government would recognize that it moves too slowly.
Right?
As safety technology has evolved, how has it impacted sort of the design of those safety systems?
Yeah, so there's been some significant advancement in technology, along with new products and innovations in modern safety devices, which is streamlining the integration of safety into manufacturing processes, lowering cost, and overall enhancing safety system performance, right? So take, for example, safety PLCs with safety over Ethernet or safe field bus. That significantly reduces installation costs, simplifies integration of safe and non-safe products on the same network, and improves scalability and flexibility, enhanced diagnostic capabilities. Safe field bus protocols meet the highest level of safety integrity in safety systems. We take safety, RFID, or radio frequency identification, has expanded its technology, enhancing safe access and interlock guard applications. RFID tags can be used and assigned to authorized personnel for safe access and control to safeguarded spaces. So most RFID-enabled interlocks provide the highest level of safety. And RFID tags can be uniquely coded, enhancing security and making it difficult to tamper or bypass. So, RFID is a non-contact operation, so significantly increases the performance of misalignment on gates or interlocks. It's easy to integrate into the safety system. There's significantly improved diagnostics. So there's a lot of advantages to RFID technology. So along with that, there's significant technological enhancements in the presence sensing devices. So things like laser scanners and light curtains and even new technology, radar. So, laser scanners, for example, today there's extended detection range in the field of view. There's higher resolution for improved detection of personnel in a hazardous area. There's what they call multi-zone and dynamic zone configuration capabilities, where we can simultaneously monitor multiple defined detection fields. So we can do on-the-fly dynamic field selection based on position of the robot or machine or even the AGV. New technology in the present safety market is radar-based, and we'll talk about that radar-based safety system, where we can use that for access detection, restart prevention, as well as collision avoidance. And if we look at cobots, cobots are incorporating advanced safety features such as force monitoring and motion sensors, ensuring that they slow down or stop when they detect the human in proximity. So the advancement of safety technology has led to more intelligent, more flexible, and efficient safety systems. It has improved risk prevention, enhanced worker protection, ensured compliance, and ultimately increased operational efficiency, all while reducing cost and minimizing downtime.
Yeah, I find it interesting. When I started in the mid-90s, that's a long, long time ago, but in the industry, a lot of the devices that we had were just components, right? So safety relays, push buttons, and other types of sensors. And then we evolved into, safety PLCs and some other things that are more intelligent and put together. But at that point, we were still selling them as components. We weren't focusing on them being as solutions or focusing on them being systems. I'd like to talk a little bit about when you started in 2015. You came on board and we started developing and delivering these fencing systems. I find that kind of an interesting part of our history. talk a little bit about when you started and how you, and where we are today with that offering as well.
Yeah, for sure, and you're right. So, Powermation is constantly looking at new products and new technologies to help meet the needs and demands of our customers, right? So in response to increasing demand for perimeter guarding, for example, Powermation has expanded its portfolio to include custom fencing solutions. We did that by partnering with a company out of Germany called Safety System Products, which is an outstanding company, but they developed a perimeter guarding system made from extruded aluminum, right? So it's a product offering that is specifically engineered, designed, tested, and certified for perimeter guarding to meet the necessary ISO 14120-2015.
Quote the standards.
Yeah. But really a great product offering. So.
We were at a tech fair last week or the week after, or week before, and a customer was saying that he didn't like the fact that he had to slide these little T-nuts around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the advantage of the Powermation safety system, or the fencing system, because it's pretty cool.
It is a great solution, Terry, and bring up a valid point. So we started this manufacturing process back in 2016, so we're not new at this by any means, and we've been growing and expanding its capabilities ever since. It is a highly flexible fencing system specifically designed to meet customer needs. There's a lot of customized fencing solution requirements out there, but this particular solution has been developed for ease of assembly with minimal number of components. And what I mean by that is, there's really only 4 extrusion profiles. On top of that, all the bracketry includes fastening hardware that is pre-mounted and aligned with the extrusion. So it prevents that chasing of the T-nuts up and down the slot, right? There's no drilling or tapping required. So what, really significantly improves the efficiency of assembling these systems. The other thing we can do is we can offer a variety of infill materials, mesh, poly, solid fill, arc flash panels. We've done a lot of customization, colored panels with custom printing, specifically for customers. We can offer 3 different variations designed to meet the requirements, design requirements, as well as the budget considerations. The other thing that's really awesome is that what we're seeing a lot of attention towards is doing pre-built systems for our customers. So we can either do a kit build system or we can do a pre-built system where we literally build full wall sections, store them onto a pallet, lock them down onto a pallet, and then the entire system is shipped to the customer, where they're literally pulling wall sections off. And what's nice about it too is that those OEMs that have to put up these fencing systems can reinstall that right back onto the pallet. We label the pallet. We go through a lot of pain and agony to make sure that these systems are easy.
And even the shrink wrap, from what I've seen, is special colored, so that if anything happens in shipping,
correct,
a tear or whatever, then there's going to be accountability for that.
Yep. This solution can also be easily altered in the field. 9 times out of 10 you get there, we got this post in the way, we need to alter our system. But we carry a significant inventory of all necessary materials right out of our Pewaukee facility, so we can ship components, at a heartbeat. So we are also not region bound with this product line. We can ship and have shipped fencing systems not only in our region but also throughout the continental U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
So you take a napkin sketch of what they want, and then they get you a quote, or how does a customer or a person come along and say, hey, I'd like to get that, or at least look into fencing systems?
Yep. No, great question. So a lot of times the customer work with our sales rep, the PM sales rep, and then they work directly with our solution engineer. So the customer provides some design requirements, and we have taken bar napkin type of designs and brought them into a full 3D CAD model for the customer. So but the solution engineer works hand in hand with the customer to develop a 3D CAD model. And then when the system design meets those customer requirements, PM will provide a quote. And then upon quote acceptance, Powermation will cut, build, package, and ship that fencing system.
And one last comment on that fencing, and I've known over the years of listening to you guys talk about it, is that it really does save assembly time. You know, the labor hours involved in putting these things together out in the field really does add cost.
Oh,
And so when you're just looking at component costs, it might be a little bit more expensive, but when you look at the holistic solution, you're saving a lot of dollars in assembly of these things.
100%. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Basically, the way we put it is, hey, look, your labor is on that pallet.
Yep.
So,
And that's the advantage. Let's talk a little bit about emerging technologies. What are the things that we've added to the line card at Powermation? You know, what are the emerging technologies that we're looking at adding maybe in the future? Do you have any sort of insight in that?
Yeah. So one emerging technology that's really starting to take off, and it's been out for 6 or 7 years, is a radar-based safety system. A company called Inspect has developed this technology, and it's really the world's first third-party tested and certified radar-based safety product. It's a product that falls in the category of what they call electrosensitive protective equipment, which is really nothing more than a fancy word of saying present sensing safety device. So it falls in the same category as light curtains and laser scanners and even floor mats. Those are present sensing safety devices. This is a volumetric-based technology that is really designed to detect motion. And that's really important to understand. But the primary safety functions we see this technology being used for is, access detection. So a lot like a laser scanner, where we monitor the access of a defined area and provide a reduced speed or safe speed or stop command to the process. We also see this technology really for the first time. We can use this technology to do what's called restart prevention or a safe restart. So we can actually look for motion inside of a cell before we allow this process to start. And then collision avoidance. We see a great solution for applications that require a safety rated product on mobile applications for detection of personnel in the path of driverless vehicles. So AGVs, AMRs, cranes, which that market is really exploding. So it's really neat technology to be able to add this into the toolbox of safety devices. Yep.
I always thought radar had a bad name because it would always be, next step would be to get a ticket, a speeding ticket. What are some of the advantages of radar-based technology versus like optical-based safety?
Yep. So when you think about radar, where are they using radar-based technology? It's in our automobiles heavily now. 10 years ago, it wasn't even a radar sensor. Today, it's used heavily. It's used in trains and planes and boats. And why is that? Primarily because radar can burn through the environmental conditions that will wreak havoc with an optical-based safety product. So an environmental or manufacturing environment where there's a lot of dust, a lot of soot, a lot of shavings, or weld spatter, sparks, and vapor, and oil, and all those sort of things that wreak havoc with optical-based safety, radar burns right through it, so it prevents those false trips. It's a volumetric present sensing device. So when you think of a laser scanner, that's on a single plane. That sensing field is on a single plane and a single plane only. So anything above that plane or anything below that plane, it's not being sensed. Right? Because this is volumetric, we can now look underneath the conveyor and we can look on top of a conveyor, for example. There is no moving parts with this. So with a laser scanner, you have a motor or something running around in there that sooner or later it will wear out. It's a very simple system to configure. It's not difficult at all. It's extremely tolerant to inert objects. Again, this is a motion-based technology, so if you want to ignore something that's completely inert and not moving, you have that capability of doing that. It is an IP67 rated product and extremely high temperature range, so it can go from -22 to +140. So really suitable for those outdoor applications like the outdoor AGVs and stuff like that and cranes.
What I find interesting is that it's able to, it's able to deliver a safety system in that environment. Must mean that it's a very mature technology. It's something that's been proven, tested, so that people won't get hurt when it's implemented in the field. And that's what's really interesting about radar, is being so mature that they can use it in a people-safe type of environment.
Yeah, and I commend the company for taking the initiative, because it takes a lot to take that technology, bring it into a safety product, and then go through all the certifications. It takes a lot, and they did a wonderful job, and they're continuously expanding and capitalizing on the infrastructure around the radar sensors themselves. So it's a growing product that's definitely gaining a lot of attention, and we're seeing some significant growth. And again, with the growth of automation, the AGVs, the AMRs, robotic applications, it's a great solution.
So we've covered a lot of topics. What is it that Powermation can do to help a customer in that sort of safety journey, if you want to call it that, to meet those requirements needed? I think we've talked before in other meetings that we don't do safety assessments, but after a safety assessment is performed, we can help pick and select the things to build out. Why don't you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I was actually a Powermation customer for 25 years, and one thing that always impressed me about Powermation was their ability to strategically align with some of the best companies in the world, providing outstanding world-class products. When reviewing our overall product safety offering and the depth of products from our vendors, Powermation can help meet those needs and provide solutions for our customers through a vast array. Powermation has a very deep product customer base. Mm-hmm. So, we talk about risk assessments, so when we start there, we actually have strategically aligned with an organization that can provide those risk assessments for companies that need them. And they can also provide some risk mitigation solutions as well. So if a customer wants some standards training, we're aligned with companies that we can direct them to some standards training to get their certified machine safety expert and have that expertise in-house. The ANSI B11 standards. We're also looking at how we can provide risk assessment training. So those customers that want to do risk assessments in-house and not have to pay for that service, we're looking at providing that as well. So we talked about Powermation providing custom perimeter guarding solutions through our good partner safety system products. So we have that capability. Powermation's depth in our interlocks, being partnered with Fortress Safety, for example, we are the nation's largest Fortress distributor, but Fortress has the ability to customize a solution to help meet the customer's needs. And there's so many different applications out there, but from heavy duty interlocks to medium duty interlocks to explosion proof to IP69K. Do we want solenoid locking? Do we want a trap key? Do we want a combination of both, providing safe access and exclusive control for operators and maintenance personnel? We can do badge reading for selection or access control. Safety over Ethernet with interlocks. Being partnered with companies like Oichner and Pills, where we could provide best-in-class RFID interlock options. Multiple form factors that we can choose from based on the size of the application. RFID access control. Safety relays and contactors, or safety controllers. Being partnered with Pills and Banner and Phoenix Contact, breadth of different technologies available. Presence sensing safety devices is another one. Light curtains, laser scanners, safety floor mats, and again, a radar-based safety system. Being partnered with companies like Banner and Pills and Inspect really provides an incredible breadth of products to help solve our customers' needs.
Yeah, the industry is very innovative and it's moving quickly.
It is. Yep.
And what's interesting about that is the reason that it is moving quickly and the reason why there's so much innovation in it is because they're trying to make it easier to deploy, less expensive, and they're creating these things to make basically the customer's job easier.
Yep.
To be able to deploy these type of safety
100%.
systems. So.
Absolutely.
Well, great. I know it's a really interesting topic. You could probably talk all day long about standards and numbers, OSHA 1, 2, 3, 4 stuff. It's a great topic. Sometimes people want to go in depth. Sometimes people want to go superficially, but it sounds like you'd be able to handle all of those conversations. Maybe spend a couple of days having a lunch meeting with somebody. But thanks for sitting here
100%, no.
and talking to. And we really do appreciate coming all the way over here because you're stationed in our Region 2 or Wisconsin office to
100%,
kind
yeah.
of share your safety insights with us.
Yeah, no, appreciate the opportunity, I really do.
Yep. I would like to thank Jeff Johnson for being on the show today, and I would like to thank you for listening. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast to stay up to date on future episodes. See you next time.